traps. Amity PD. And I don't know why, because again, it's just so, it's a small touch. It's a bit of levity. It worked for me. Not like I'm not doubled over laughing, but just the, and make sure you let Paulie do the printing. Well, Chief, come on, I can let Paulie do the printing. And like that works for me on multiple levels. Now we know Charlie, writes like a child.
Yeah, you can tell they have a relationship.
Yeah.
It's not just, here, make the sign. It's
just let Paulie do the printing. Well, come on, Chief, I can let Paulie do the printing. But not only, you can put those words on paper, but their chemistry.
Absolutely.
And the way it's acted out is believable and it's on point. And again, I just want to just take a moment, just sit. I've got, I'm on my lawn chair. I'm on a beach and I'm just soaking in all this good dialogue. I just want to sit here and you don't know why this dialogue is so good? Peter Benchley. So they're making the signs, or they're getting them made. And now the mayor interjects.
Oh, very, very political.
Now
guy.
We get small town politics involved. Yes. And this is a major point of the movie that is also, God, it rings so true, does it not?
Oh, absolutely.
So at this point in time, they're getting the beach closed signs made up, and Paulie on the radio contacts Sheriff Brody and says there's some kind of boys organization they're earning merit badges. It's like the Boy Scouts, but it's not Boy Scouts, but it's, whatever. And they're doing like their mile swim for their merit badges. And he's like, oh shit. So he gets on the ferry to go out and it's like to get him out of the water. But we see coming up from behind him, too many pronouns, coming up from behind Sheriff Brody, we see the mayor. And we kind of have seen the mayor off and on. He talks to the deputy, learns we've had a shark attack, got to close the beaches. He's now trying to catch up to Brody. And he's kind of got like a cast of cronies with him, the sheriff does. No, I'm sorry, the mayor does.
Yeah, and he's got the coroner with him too.
Yeah, he's already got the coroner.
Yeah, he kind of does what the shark does and kind of sneaks up on him and ambushes him a little bit.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, goddamn! Look at that analogy coming from Grandmaster Tevis over there, like it's some kind of movie critic.
I got some skills.
Oh. Like a political great white, here comes the mayor with his cast of characters to ambush the sheriff and just swallow him whole in their small town garbage. And they're like, you gonna close the beaches on your own authority? And he's like, yeah, the hell authority do I need? Well, and they just start bogging him down in bureaucratic red tape.
Oh yeah, bunch of bullshit.
And then he's like, look, I'm just reacting to what I was told. I'm reacting to what he told me, referencing, pointing at the coroner who's there. He's like, well, I could have been wrong. It's like, oh, you could have been wrong.
I think it was, a boating accident. A boating accident.
And he's like, think about it. Girl takes a swim, fishing boat comes by, and then the other guy chimes in. It's happened before. It's like, look, I don't think you understand. You say barracuda, people are like, huh? What? You say shark, and we have a panic on our hands. And so now they are already twisting the screws to manipulate these events so that they will not interfere with the tourists coming in.
They need those summer dollars.
That's what I'm getting there. He said, look,
exactly what he said.
We're worried that you're jumping the gun. This is your first summer, We're a summer town. We need those summer dollars. And I have my note in here, actually that little bit. But in hindsight, after watching this movie, if you think about it, skipping ahead a little bit, we learn that, obviously they don't close the beaches, shark attacks again, full chaos, and that summer season is ruined. No one's going to Amity that year. Had they just listened to Brody and gone with his plan from the beginning, when they're on the ferry, I'm talking from the beginning, they'd have saved their summer. They would have missed the 4th of July and saved the rest of it.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
It's almost like if there's a problem, take care of it right away before it becomes a much larger problem. And usually when problems get larger, they get a lot more costly.
Yeah, a lot
like
worse.
Cars and houses.
Cost a lot more money. Take a lot more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the shark attack light came on the dashboard, and they just put some tape over that shit, or they cracked the dash and took the bulb out. They were tired of looking at it. It's fine. Until smoke rolled out of the engine. So, but now we see these small town politics in play. Cuts to, is it later that day, or is it a different day?
I don't know what you're talking about.
On the beach. Everyone's on the beach. They're having the Kittner attack.
Oh, I think that's the next day. Yes, it is the next day because Brody goes home and he's studying sharks in that book.
Yes.
And this is one of my favorite parts. He goes out and he yells at his son who's sitting in the boat, tells him to get out of the boat. Get out of the boat. You don't need to be in the boat.
That happens after the Kittner boy attack.
Does it?
Because the mom specifically says he's not in the water, he's in the boat. He may never go in the water again after what happened.
That's true. Yeah.
What happened being the Kittner attack.
That is true. Yeah.
I don't think, it just cuts to, it could be the same day, it could be the next. It doesn't really matter. But we see everyone just on the beach, just normal, beautiful summer day. They're on the beach, playing. Everyone's in the water playing. But there's Brody on the beach. He's with his wife. But he is just scanning.
He's on high alert.
He is scanning.
He's like a meerkat.
Oh, that's my meerkat.
Amazing.
Thank you. Is that our bad impression of the episode, meerkats?
That's one of them. I'm sure there'll be another.
Oh, once we get to Quint, there will be. So he's on high alert. I want to talk about this scene and the editing. And I would like to invite James Cameron and Assface McGee, whose name I've forgotten, Stanley Kubrick, Assface McGee. I would like to invite them to sit down with us.
Is that his given name?
I believe that's his given Christian name. Is
Stanley Kubrick is his Hollywood name.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, obviously, you can't become famous with a name like Assface McGee.
That's true.
You have to change it.
His parents kind of cursed him.
Yeah.
So, okay. I understand.
It's you doing all right? It's Brody. He's scanning, but the camera is on Brody. You see his high alert. He's tense. He's sitting forward. You see him he's just watching. And then someone walks in front of the camera. And that's the cut. And then it cuts to something happening in the water. Like that old man has the black swim cap on, but it looks like the nose of a shark. Or to Brody it does. And so we see it going through the water, and then someone walks in front of the camera. And as they walk by, it cuts back to Brody, and so now we see what he sees. He's really sitting up now, and he's like, "Oh my God, is that a shark? Oh my God!" And then someone walks in front of the camera, and it cuts again. And the whole sequence is cut like that, and I love it. I absolutely love it, because what a great way to cut your film. You're now telling a story with no dialogue. You're showing your character and his or her reaction to what happened already and where they're at right now. We know where Sheriff Brody's mindset is. And we can tell by his expression, by his body language, by just all of his actions, what's going through his mind, what he's doing and why he's doing it. But it also then when it cuts, we know that that's what he's seeing. We see we see his name is Harry in his bad hat.
One bad hat, Harry.
Oh, it's in my notes. Because Harry's got something coming. Given his age, it might be an arrhythmia, but something else. And then there's that girl screams and it cuts, and then we see, her boyfriend like popped up under the water and like picked her up and dunked her or whatever. So we're seeing character, action, reaction, and then what he's seeing. But it's taking place on a crowded public beach We know it's on a crowded public beach. That's been established. So to use the crowd as your transition is fantastic.
Yeah.
What an amazing idea. I love that.
Yeah. Very smart.
It's smart, it's effective, and in its own way, it's artistic. There's an art to that cut.
This scene has one of my favorite camera shots ever.
There's no bush in this scene.
No, not that bush.
Oh,
No.
okay.
When the shark does finally come and gets the Kittner boy.
Mm-hmm.
It's called a dolly zoom. I had to look this up.
Okay.
It's called a dolly zoom. Because, the shark attacks, Brody sees it, and you see how the camera comes closer to Brody's face, but the background shrinks.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like tunnel vision.
Kind of, yeah, but it's phenomenal. Like, it definitely sells the fear and the shock and the...
And when that adrenaline's pumping, the hyper focus you get. Yeah.
So how they do that is they'll have the camera on a track and they'll push it in towards the subject, but then focus, or zoom rather, they'll zoom it out.
Okay.
Or vice versa too. They'll do it different ways. But man, it's so fantastic how that background just shrinks and it's like he's on high alert.
Oh yeah.
Even more than he was, because he knows shit's going down.
Yeah. Right before Kittner gets got, Harry comes out of the water. He's like, "We heard about you, Chief. You don't go in the water for nothing, do you?" And he's got a swim cap on. And he's like, Brody he sees something, he's getting up to investigate. And he's like, "Yeah, that's one bad hat, Harry." Because it's this real awful, awkward, ill-fitting swim cap. And you know what? I think our man Harry is deserving of the McCready Award for best hat.
I'd agree. Yeah. I mean, he even says it. It's one bad hat.
That's one bad hat, yeah. Harry. So all of a sudden, yeah, so it's a normal day. Kind of just seems like maybe Brody's being paranoid. Then there's a guy. So throughout the sequence, there's a guy playing with his dog, Pippin. Pippin doesn't come back. He's like, Pippin.
Then all you see is the stick that he was playing
that he
with.
was fetching with, just floating in the water. Justice for Pippin, by the way. No one talks about Pippin.
You're right. Nobody gave a shit about Pippin.
I mean, I don't give a shit about Pippin. I didn't know that dog, but...
Yeah, it wasn't like the last voyage of the Demeter dog that we all cared about.
Yeah, but the characters told us like 6 times he's a good boy.
He is a good boy.
What was that dog's name?
Lunch.
So dumb. So dumb. You're ruining our credibility.
That's been long gone.
Yeah, but to say it's long gone assumes we ever had any.
That's true. That is true.
So Pippin is gone, and we see now Billy Kittner was on a raft, like a floaty.
Yes.
And we just see the whole thing just end over end, sideways, just roll. Okay, there's a shot after it rolls that is, I feel like brutal is an understatement. And it's that scene where you just see like the boy like waist up, like thrashing up and down in the water, and the blood just starts pumping up, and it's just this pool of blood and everyone's like, "What?" Ah! And everyone's freaking out. But it's just that quick. They don't stay on it so long that it's grotesque. But there's just a scene of this kid getting thrown, and the blood just comes. It's like, holy shit!
I love, you were talking about in your Mr. Snooty critic mode about juxtaposition.
Oh, wait. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yes. I do like to speak about juxtaposition. Yes.
But you were talking about the juxtaposition of the woman getting brutally attacked and the beauty of the ocean.
Nature is such a cruel bitch.
The Kittner kill he's getting brutally attacked in the background, and in the foreground you have all these kids just playing and having a good time, so you don't really see, because you're trying to look through their arms and the splashing water, and they're just having a grand old time. And the Kittner boy is not.
And then he gets drug under.
Yeah.
And then it's just his shorts wash up in a tide of blood on the beach.
Yeah, and that's when the crowd just goes crazy, come running in, and people get stomped on and
trampled. People are almost drowning because they're in like 3 inches of water, but they're getting their faces pushed down into it from the stampede of people getting out of the water.
And did you catch that guy grabs that flotation device?
A guy's like, "Give me that!" A grown man steals a floaty from one of those floating like full body. You lay back on it like
almost like an air mattress. Type of deal.
And he's like, "Give me that, kids!" And he flips it over and dumps these 2 little kids off of it in the middle of a shark attack. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, he should have been the next one to get it.
Well, small town, he probably disappeared. So now it's on, for lack of a better term, the attack happens. It's quick. It's violent. It devastates obviously it devastates Billy Kittner, but it also devastates everyone around, those who saw it, those who who just from the panic of getting out of the water, those that got trampled, right? Because this wasn't I'm trying to think of how to best explain / I guess sort of justify, but mostly try to explain. This wasn't everyone please get out of the water. This wasn't shark sighted. Everyone please come in. This is everyone is in the water as a shark attack is happening before their eyes. This is full blown, every man for themselves panic.
Yeah, there's no question. There's not this, hey, we think we saw a shark. Nope. There's no question at all.
And it's not even like, everyone please get out of the water. A shark was sighted nearby for everyone's safety. And then everyone's like, oh, okay. And then everyone just kind of meanders out of the water. Nope. This is fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm living and you're not, I guess.
Yeah. Fuck you, kid. Give me that air mattress.
Right. Give me that air mattress, you little brat. Now, so after that, they're back at the house. Brody is, and he's with his family. And that's when his oldest son, Michael, who I think is the main character of Jaws 3, because Roy didn't want to do these anymore.
I don't know. I put that movie out of my...
Well, it might be in the hat now. We did the first one. Oh, no, we'd have to get through the second one.
Yeah.
And...
I'll burn that damn hat.
So, but this is where they're at home. And it's the scene you were talking about. Now Sheriff Brody is researching. He's gotten all the books he can find on sharks. Anything shark related. And he's just combing through these pages. And that's when and his wife comes in. He's like, oh, Michael just loves his birthday present. And Brody's like, huh? Like that gets his attention real quick. And he looks up and there's Michael like in his boat tied to the dock. He's like, Michael, get out of that boat. It's tied to the dock, Dad. I don't care. Get out of the boat. And it's like, and then his wife's like, what are you doing? He's not in the water. He's in the boat. And then he's like, I don't care. But that's when she sees one of the pages that were open in Brody's book about shark attacks. And she's like, Michael!
Yeah, the shark.
Get out of that boat!
The picture of the shark destroying the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when she's like, do what your father told you. Get out of the damn boat.
But actually...
A little bit of foreshadowing there as well.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Although, to be fair, this is the first of... What? Because there's a second bit of foreshadowing that particular kind of attack.
Oh, yeah. I know. I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
We're not there yet. But I do want to take a second to pause on this scene. It's short, and not a lot happens, really. But to me, it's crucially important for the character of Sheriff Brody. And I'm such a big fan of it. And I would fight for its inclusion. And I would fight for scenes like this to be included in any movie along a similar vein. Sheriff Brody is an everyman. He's a John McClane.
Absolutely.
He's an everyday guy forced into an extraordinary situation that he has to step up and deal with. I love the fact that he knows, man, I don't know shit about sharks. Not really. And we get a scene of him researching sharks. We see him doing his homework to better understand what he's dealing with, so he can then have a better idea of how to deal with it. What a great moment. And it's nothing. It's essentially a nothing moment in the movie, but it's so important for his character.
Absolutely.
And I love it because we see he's like, oh, shark, it's, we'll take care of it, whatever, right? He doesn't automatically know everything. He doesn't automatically assume he's got this. He's not, he's not the bulletproof Jean-Claude Van Damme hero. He's just a normal guy who's going, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. And I think we need that kind of inclusion in movies of our heroes, not just seeing them train in like a la Rocky, right? A training montage, getting ready. That's important too. I'm not degrading that. But to see our hero go, damn, and take the time to learn and to research and to better equip themselves with knowledge. That's so cool. And it makes sense. It's what any normal, rational person would do. And yet we never see it in movies.
Yeah, I can't think of another one off the top of my head that comes. But you're right. I mean, it does build the character. It's like, yeah, he knows what he doesn't know, and he knows what he needs to learn, and he's trying. And I love the fact that he doesn't like the water, but he still steps up and does what he needs to do.
He's the sheriff. This is his town. These are his people, and he's got to serve and protect.
Yeah.
But he can't do that because he doesn't know anything about sharks. So first step, learn about sharks. It's almost like if I'm reaching, let me know. But it's like in The Foreigner. We talked about Jackie Chan and how he has no issue whatsoever showing himself struggle in a fight, because that's what builds the tension and the entertainment and the excitement of the fight scene. We see his character has weakness, not like Superman and Kryptonite, not like a weakness, but just that he's a normal guy and he's not impervious to everything. He can get punched in the face and kicked in the balls and, thrown through a skylight onto some stairs, right? And he fights back and he overcomes. And I feel like it's a very similar kind of mentality with Brody. And we see his weakness in not knowing his enemy. And so now we see that he knows we see his weakness, he sees his weakness, and we see him taking the steps to overcome it. And yet as an audience, we're not going, look at this asshole with the book over here not knowing how to fight a shark. No, right? We're not doing that. We're looking at it like you look at it and it's admirable. It makes you like him more.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he has weaknesses. And like you said, he's afraid of the water. That's a weakness. But what does this weakness serve? He has to get on a fucking boat to fight a giant shark or to hunt a giant shark. He is overcoming that weakness. He's overcoming the weakness of ignorance by learning and studying sharks. And he's overcoming the weakness of fear by forcing himself to get on that water. This is so important for characters and for us to care about these characters and to like these characters.
Yeah, and this is the only movie I can think of that our hero is uncomfortable, not sure of himself throughout a majority of this movie. Like even when he's on the boat, almost the entire time he's on the boat, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Oh, he's very much once they're on the boat, he's the rookie.
Yeah.
He's they're teaching him how to tie knots. He gets all the shit jobs.
Yeah.
You know, he's throwing out the chum line and stuff. He gets all the bitch
He's
work.
scared.
He's scared. Yeah, he's unsure. He's scared. He's nervous. And yet none of that detracts from him as a character, a person, a hero. It doesn't diminish our entertainment of him as our leading man / character, but enhances it.
Absolutely.
Hey, Dwayne the Chair Breaker Johnson, when your character is immortal in every sense of the word, it's not impressive. It's boring.
Absolutely.
So it's such a cool moment of Brody studying sharks, learning and working on that. Moving on from that, I could talk about characterization all day. But now there's kind of a town hall meeting going on, as you know, everyone who wants a say is meeting up at the town hall to discuss the plans for dealing with the shark attack. And we see, actually, it's just as we see all these people filter into the room and everything, we get little bits of dialogue from particularly the business owners.
Oh, yeah.
That woman.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I have an opinion that I believe is worth sharing. And as I think it's an opinion shared by a lot of other people around here. And we learn that she owns a local motel on the island. She is thriving, or, you know, because of the summer dollars. And she, like all the other business owners that we meet in the movie, 2 people for sure killed by shark attack. Everyone saw one happen. A little boy, and that basically the entire town watched die. And they're still arguing to keep the beaches open. Do not interfere with the tourism. We need the money. They are very, very much putting their greed in front of basic public safety.
Yeah, they don't give a shit about anything else but money.
And here we see Brody is, pardon the pun, it's not intentional, but I caught it before I said it, but Brody's a fish out of water here too. He doesn't play, he's the local sheriff. And now he's in a town hall, and there's business and there's politics and there's, you know, this bullshit going on, and he's just sitting there going, what? Like, what?
Yeah, because he gets up and he does a speech.
Yes.
And he talks about what he's going to do. And he's like, yeah, we're going to close the beaches. And then the mayor spouts out, oh, yeah, for 24 hours.
24 hours.
And he's like, wait a minute. No, that's not what we agreed to.
We agreed to close the beaches until the shark was dealt with. But when he says we're going to close the beaches, the outrage from the business owners causes the mayor to feel his votes slipping away. And he jumps in with only 24 hours. He's like, that's not, no.
Yeah.
But that's what they do. And then also there's a wrench thrown in their plan, because we learn that Billy's mom, Mrs. Kittner, put out a $3,000 bounty on the shark, which attracts shark hunters from all over, all over. They all
kinds of wonderful characters.
Hey, what is that? Dynamite? No. Come here. Please give me that.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. And this is when, God damn it, what's his name?
Quint?
Well, I was going to say the other one. Hooper shows up.
Right, but at the meeting,
Quint shows
back at the meeting. So Brody explains we're going to hire and bring on the extra summer deputies early. We're closing the beaches, and we're having an expert brought in from the oceanographic. What is this word?
Oceanic Institute.
But the Oceanic Institute, they're bringing a specialist in, who is Hooper, to help them, like, give them the expertise they need to, like, what are we dealing with? So there's all the commotion. Beach is only going to be closed 24 hours. I didn't agree to that. Uproar, uproar. Down come the nails on the chalkboard. And that gets everyone to shut up as they all turn and they're like, oh my God, what is that noise? And in the back of the room, sitting in a chair, just nails on the chalkboard, is the crustiest old bastard.
I love him.
And he's, y'all know me? Know what I do for a living? That's actually a pretty good Quint.
That was not too bad.
Thank you. Now we get to meet Captain Quint, a local of the island, fisherman and shark hunter. And he explains, we can save summer, but we do it my way. I'll find your fish for 3,000. But if you want me to hunt it and kill it, I want 10,000.
All for myself.
Because he's like, I know what we're dealing with. You guys don't, you're a bunch of idiots. I want 10,000, and that gets you me by myself and my ship, and I'll bring you the whole damn thing.
I love what he says. He says, for that, you get the head, you get the tail, you get the whole damn thing.
For that, you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
And everyone's like, thanks, Mr. Quint. Like, you're like, you weirdo.
So, Robert Shaw, on that documentary that I watched on YouTube, he was a party guy. He was a drinker.
Like our friend Proximo. What was his name?
Not as bad as that guy.
Okay.
But they hired an assistant to stick with him and keep him from getting into the booze.
He didn't have an assistant. He had a handler.
Kind of like that guy from Predator. Sonny. You know what I'm talking about? They had to hire a bodyguard for everybody else.
Yeah, the insurance company wouldn't even cover the movie because he was. What was it? God, was Sonny? Damn, whatever his name.
Yeah,
because because that guy was a legitimate psychopath.
Yeah, they hired a bodyguard for everybody else. But anyway, they hired an assistant to watch Mr. Shaw and keep him from getting into the alcohol. But once he was kind of away from earshot of everybody else and it was just him and his assistant, he would get the assistant to go and have drinks with him. And they had to replace the assistant because the assistant was so drunk.
Yeah, it's hard to be the assistant to keep your one of your leading actors from getting drunk when you yourself are drunk.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of funny.
What a great way to introduce the character of Quint. It tells you everything you need to know.
Oh, in that short little 2 or 3 minutes.
How does he get everyone's attention? He himself grinds his nails against the chalkboard. And then when he's like, look, you know me. You want it? I want $10,000 and I'll bring you this whole motherfucking thing. Like, it's great. So then it cuts to the next day. Well, the newspapers ran with Mrs. Kintner's $3,000 bounty, as now Brody and Charlie are swamped with fishermen, half-ass fishermen, hunters,
half-ass hunters,
something. Yeah. We see people with bows and guns and dynamite and fishing rods and just what and no, we see people trying to cast off and they're blocking each other because their people are overloading their boats with people. Like there are too many people on boats and there are too many boats and no one can get out and it's just pandemonium. But at this point, we get to meet Hooper. He's the shark expert, played by Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah, I like Brody and him are talking. They're on the pier, and you see all those guys piled in that boat. And Brody tells Hooper, he's like, "Hey, can you help me out? Get these guys out of the boat." And he's trying to talk to him and be like, hey, where's a good place to eat here? He goes, yeah, just keep walking. Just walk off the pier.
Step forward.
Step forward. And he's just like, okay. And he walks away. He goes, those guys are going to die.
Hey, those guys on that boat? Yeah, they're all going to die. Like, see, Charlie, this is what I'm talking about. Help me out here.
These are your people.
They're not my people. Do you see those license plates? So we're here. Let's talk about the introduction of Hooper. He comes in.
Lots of denim.
Big fan. It was 75. Big fan of the denim. But he's confident, but in a quiet and reserved kind of way, not a boisterous show-off kind of way. Like, Hooper's got a real sarcastic sense of humor to him.
A little bit.
And he's like, yeah, those guys? Yeah, they're all gonna die. And it's like, hey, sheriff doesn't want you guys to get in that boat. Says unsafe. What do you care, man? All right, well, if you're not gonna listen, do you know a good place to eat around here? Like, he's got that wit to him. But he knows his stuff. He's passionate about it. He takes it seriously. But we kind of see all of that. We get a snapshot of who Hooper is in this moment. We get a taste of his wit. We get a touch of his seafaring expertise, his knowledge of sharks. He's very just kind of friendly, just regular guy, which is the exact opposite of Quint.
I feel like Quint is almost like that legend that came to life.
So the hunters go out, and eventually they bring back a shark. It's a good sized shark too. That thing. Now, that is a real shark, and the film had a team, like a shark hunting vessel, on their payroll, and apparently they hunted many sharks to get a shark big enough to be believable as a man-eater.
Oh.
That little no sharks were harmed in the making of this movie?
That'd be a lie.
This movie didn't have that, because that would be a lie.
Yeah.
So that tiger shark carcass, yeah, that's real.
The what?
We have so much good acting in this movie.
The what?
And then we have this guy. Then we have this asshole, this fat asshole who couldn't act his way out of a paper bag. So they bring the shark up. Also, they got this shark. It's a good-sized tiger shark. There's a fucking arrow sticking out of it. Like you had like 15 vessels full of people just F up this one shark. They bring it in, and everyone's looking at it. It's like, man, look at this sucker. What kind of shark is it? I don't know. It's a weird one, but Hooper's there checking it out, making sure it's the right, thing. He's like, tiger shark. And that's when the one guy turns, the what? I was like, I hope you die.
Yeah, apparently, he was a local that they hired and they hired a lot of locals for this movie.
Which I appreciate.
From this town, yeah. Going back to the documentary I watched on the YouTube.
Quit plugging YouTube. We're not sponsored.
But apparently they sell t-shirts in the town with his picture on it, and it says the what?
Because everyone went, this asshole.
Exactly. I love it.
So Hooper is there, and he's taking measurements of like the shark's mouth, its bite radius, how long it is, estimating how much it weighs, doing his thing. And everyone's like, dude, get out of the way. Because he's, the newspaper's trying to get a picture, and everyone's celebrating because they did it. They hunted the shark. Hooper's got bad news for everyone. It's not the right shark, guys. And no one wants to hear that. And despite not wanting to hear it, you know who listens to the expert that they sent out for? Brody. No one wants to No one wants to hear the answer Hooper's giving. That's not the shark. Sorry, guys. Your killer's still out there. Brody doesn't want to hear that answer either. But everyone else is shutting Hooper down. They don't want to hear it, so they're not going to. Brody doesn't want to hear it, but he does anyway, because he knows, shit, this isn't over.
Yeah, and Hooper knows because he did he looked at the body or
Man.
what was remaining of Chrissy, the
Okay,
woman in the very beginning.
Can we talk about that? So Hooper and Brody go to look at the remains so Hooper can see them and get an idea of what they're dealing with. For the life of me, I'm sure I've seen, I know I've seen it. I'm sure I've probably thought it. But for whatever reason, it wasn't until watching it again for this show that it dawned on me. It really, like, the heaviness of it just landed on me like a ton of bricks. The coroner pulls an ice chest out of the fucking refrigerator. And that's all the remains of Chrissy.
Yeah, it was almost like a shoebox.
There's no body. There's no autopsy to go over. There's no examining the victim's remains, because there's like an arm. There's part of it's a jigsaw puzzle of a person. Like, it's a goddamn ice cooler they pulled out of a refrigerator. Oh my God. Am I wrong?
No.
Like, it never really like hit me before until I just went, oh my God.
Yeah. And Richard Dreyfuss does a fantastic job in this scene where he's examining it and he's just like almost in shock of what he's seeing.
He's taken back, but he's trying to power through.
Yeah. And he does a good job anyway. Everybody does a good job on this movie.
Oh, yeah.
But just this scene, just watching him, like he can't catch his breath at moments, and it's like he's sweating almost, and it's fantastic.
He knows what he's doing, but he's never seen anything like this.
Right.
And you can tell because because Chrissy's in a goddamn shoebox. Oh my God. Anyway, I just felt that was important. Yeah, they were just like, oh yeah, here, ice tray out of the fridge. And I'm like, brutal. Oh, you know what we also didn't talk about? Not that it matters. Those two guys who tried to claim the $3,000 bounty that night.
Oh, on the pier.
Two locals get a big inflatable tube. Was it a tire? It wasn't a tire, was it? It might have been a tire. Something akin to a tire. A bunch of chain and a meat hook, and they put one of their wives' roast on it, and they throw it out there, and then they're just on the pier. They're just doing their thing. And then the buoy goes down, and the chain just starts flying off the dock. They're like, he's taking it. Yeah, swim, you bastard. We got you. And now we get a taste of the shark's power. Because let's face it, any great white can kill Chrissy. Any great white can kill Billy and the dog. Now we're getting a taste of its power as it rips the pier in half.
This is where I have the slightest nitpick.
What?
Yes.
Is it because that guy swims slower than molasses?
Well, there's that, but it's okay. So the chain goes and goes and goes and goes, and then finally the pier gets ripped, and the pier goes off a little bit. But the guy's in the water. He tries to swim. And the pier turns around, and the pier is essentially the shark.
Right. The music's going.
Yes, but the pier is getting closer and closer and closer and closer. But with the length of the chain,
well, the shark would have been underneath him.
Would have been, yeah, he would have been riding the fin.
Right.
And that's just my little nitpick.
Right, but hear me out. Does the piece of the dock or pier or whatever does it actually turn around, or does it just start coming back?
No, it turns around.
Okay.
It does like a 180
spin.
Yeah.
Because I've watched as many times as I've seen this scene. I'm not totally convinced that once the broken piece of the dock is headed back, I'm not actually 100% sure the shark is there.
No, because it does just wash up
Right.
onto
Yeah.
onto the shore, and
I think it was more just the panic of obviously the shark was there. It ripped the pier in half.
Yeah.
And so that guy was definitely going to die. Or it seemed that way as he was swimming back to the dock. But I think at some point, like, I don't think they really hooked Jaws, right? I don't think they hooked the shark, at least not that well. I think at some point he just ate the roast and like left.
ate the chain and everything. It's like,
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think he was swimming, and then the momentum of the,
right.
Everything came loose, and the shark's like, I'm tired, I'm hungry, or I'm full.
Yeah,
I'm out.
But I think just swim, keep swimming. Oh, don't look back. I don't think there was a shark there at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, you have to say yes, because that shark would have got him already.
Right.
So, yeah.
Because also, he swims so slow.
He had one too many roasts.
Right? Oh, he enjoyed his wife's
roast. White
roast?
White roast. Wow.
Ah, I too enjoy my wife's roast. We were talking about Mel Brooks earlier. What do you mean? Oh, and then he gets back up. Can we go home now? Yeah, we're going home now. So they do the autopsy on the tiger shark. Brody and Hooper do. So Hooper's like, look, this is probably this could be the shark, and I hope it is, but I don't think it is. But sharks digest very slowly. We can cut open its stomach. What it ate will come out. And if it is, we will see the remains of the boy. And that's some heavy and dark shit.
Yes.
But there's only one way to be certain, right?
Yeah, gotta do it.
Nobody wants to do it, but Hooper's willing to do it. It's the only way. And again, we keep bringing this up, and it's so important. Brody's the only one, A, willing to listen to reason, and B, willing to do what he has to do. And he's like, all right, let's do it. Also, when they're eating dinner and Hooper convinces him, like, let's go cut that shark open. Hooper brings wine to dinner. He's like, I brought red wine. I didn't know what you'd be serving. They come. And Brody just pops the cork on the red, and that's what Hooper's like, you might want to let that breathe, and he's just pouring, and he pours a little for his wife, and he pours a little for Hooper, and then he pours an entire drinking glass of wine. He pours I've had a really bad day level of wine for himself.
I love it. Yeah, that's so funny. He just keeps going.
Also, I love the line. He's like, let's go cut open a fish. And his wife's like, can you do that? I'm the chief of police and do whatever I want. When you look at that line at face value, that line could go so many different ways. That could be used as like a corrupt politician's line. You could use that as a tyrant line, like the sheriff is just this, overbearing tyrant on the community kind of a thing. But Brody drops it. He's such a likable, believable, understandable character. And the line gets dropped with such a sincerity of just a man who is tired physically, mentally, emotionally. He's tired of the bullshit, and he's just going, yep, fuck it.
He's maybe a little drunk.
He a little drunk. Our boy's a little drunk. But it's not, there's no malice or ill intent behind any of those words. No. Even though when you look at just the statement, I'm the sheriff, I can do what I want, it would be really easy, intentionally or otherwise, to have negative connotation there.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's none. It just, the way he delivers it, you're just like, yeah, man.
And the way he delivers it, and also the look on his face, like he's just like, meh, what are they gonna do?
He's officially at fuck it.
Yep.
He's like, I have been dancing with these assholes, and 2 people are dead. I'm done. That is the look of a man who is done.
Yes.
So they go cut the shark open. They do not find the Kittner boy.
They find a license plate.
Don't tell me you swallowed a car. And he's like, so, what's he say? Something about it's not our. Man, I'm trying to remember the exact line, but Hooper's like, yeah, it's not your only problem. You still got a fish out there with a mouth about this big, and he holds his hands up. And as someone who, I've seen sharks at like the aquarium or, wherever, right? But I've never been like out on deep ocean, or anything like that. And so when you watch like nature documentaries or whatever, and they're talking about, this 30-foot crocodile or the blue whale or this great white shark is, 28 feet long and 7,000 pounds, whatever it is. I have a really hard time picturing how big that actually is.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Because as someone who hasn't seen anything that big in real life up close and personal, that those numbers just don't. It's like, here's $10 million. Well, logically, I understand what you're saying, but in real life, I don't understand what $10 million looks like. I don't know what that means. I've never seen it. Never seen anything like it to compare to it, right? I have no point of reference. So when Hooper holds his hand, it's like, you got a fish out there with a mouth this big. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what does that mean? Why is his mouth that big? His hands are so far apart.
That's a big ass fish.
That's a big fish. Well, beaches are still open. Only 2 guys on the island. No one's giving them any attention. They're trying to convince the mayor shark is still out there. All right? Because that's when they find Ben whoever's boat.
Oh yeah,
They go
the head.
So Brody's still drunk. They go out on the water to do a little night reconnaissance. They find a smashed up boat. Hooper dives in and sees a pretty big hole in the hull of the boat, and embedded in the wood is a big tooth. There's a big tooth in that wood. And then Ben's head comes out. Surprise!
Yeah, and he drops the tooth. Loses the tooth.
And his flashlight.
Yeah, and gets the hell out of there.
So now the next day, they're trying to convince the mayor. He's like, that shark is still out there. We hauled in the wreckage of a ship. Another person has died. And he's like, guys, you're freaking out. It's no one cares. It's done. We caught the shark. The tourists are coming in. It's business as usual. And they're like, no, it isn't. And he's like, Mr. Vaughn, I pulled a tooth the size of a shot glass out of the wreckage of that ship. What do you say? Yeah, you'd like to prove that, wouldn't you? Get your name in the National Geographic. I'm like, oh, what an asshole.
Yeah, didn't like the mayor very much at all.
But I don't think we were supposed to.
No.
Don't think we were supposed to. So, beaches are open. They've got full shark patrol on duty. Helicopters.
Yeah, they have boats filled
with gunmen and,
Yeah.
Then a fin shows up. Everyone freaks out and they get out of the water. Guns are leveled. And then a little hand comes up and pushes the fin away. And it's a couple of boys in black swimsuits, black like head to toe diving suits, with a cardboard fin playing a prank as they look up to like a World War II M1 Garand pointed at them.
Right at their head.
And they're like, oh, sorry, Martin, it's just false alarm, just a couple of kids playing a prank. It's the 70s. We're going to whip the shit out of them when they get on board.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then there's this girl who was oil painting, and she's shark! There's sharks in the pond. So like the little lagoon area. And they're like, oh God, Michael's on his boat in the pond. And so Brody starts booking it down the beach. And there's this guy on a rowboat trying to help them with like a knot they're tying in their sail or whatever. And all the boats get knocked sideways and everyone's dumped into the water. And that nice man who was trying to help them gets it.
Yeah, this shot it's overhead and you can see just below the surface the shark just a little bit.
Yeah.
That creeps me out. man, that's
He's just there waiting just below the surface.
yeah. And he pulls him under.
Yep. And that's when they get Michael and all the kids out, but Michael's in shock because he just watched a man violently die in front of him. And as a 10-year-old boy, that's probably gonna stick with him a while.
Yeah, till he dies.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just rub some dirt in it, kid.
Yeah.
It's only
Just walk it off.
It's only a lifelong trauma. Get over it.
It's the 70s. Just walk it off.
Walk it off. Walk it off, sport.
Spit on it.
So they get Michael to the hospital. He's in shock. They're going to watch him overnight. Brody is now angry. And angry Brody gets it done.
Yes,
he grabs
does.
the mayor, Mr. Vaughn, by the arm and takes him to a secluded area of the hospital and draws the curtain so they have, what privacy they can have. He's like, "You got a pin, Larry?" A pin? He's like, "Yeah, motherfucker, a pin." And he reaches into the mayor's jacket and pulls a pin out from his inside pocket himself. Do you know the power play it is to reach into another man's jacket and pull his pin out? That is a straight power move. You let another man reach into your pocket and pull your pin out, you have no say in that conversation. You have no power whatsoever.
I think he was probably a little afraid of what Brody would do.
He's like, "Hey, my kids were on that beach too, And he's like, "I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. You were going to sign this. We're going to close the beaches. We're going to hire Quint and we will pay him whatever he wants. And we're hunting the shark."
From this moment on, I did not take a single note. I was just focused and I was into it.
My notes drastically. I actually, from this point on, I have 3 notes. And you know what? Just for the fun of it, I will read what they are. You want to hear what they are?
Yeah.
Quint. That's one. Gonna need a bigger boat. We'll get there. Scar contest. That's it.
Yep.
That's all my notes for the second half of this movie.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
Quint. I actually, so now we have the 3 of them, Brody, Cooper, Quint, and their interactions with each other. Damn, this is so good.
Oh, yeah.
This is so good. You've got the working class hero in Quint / like you said, legend brought to life from the old fisherman tales. You've got Hooper, who's the new school. He's from, his family's wealthy. He's wealthy. He's an old money kind of guy. He's not the tough, grizzled, calloused hands kind of fisherman and shark expert like Quint is. And so they've got actually multiple layers of their rivalry or of their dynamic, I guess I should say, the tension in their relationship, rich versus poor, new school versus old school. You know what I mean? And then you got Brody, who has, by all reason, has no business being on this boat.
No, not at all. Yeah, he does not fit. And he knows he doesn't fit.
Yeah. You know what I appreciate, though, while they're out there? Is Quint, despite being gruff, tough, vulgar, everything you picture an old crusty, shark hunter from the 70s to be, right? Think about when the scenes we get when he's helping teach Brody just basic fishing skills. He's so patient and his tone is so pleasant. You would expect like a drill sergeant hard ass, but he's not.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
Like he's doing, little brown eel comes out of the hole, goes around the cave, goes back in the hole, and so he's trying to teach Brody how to tie the knot.
Yeah.
And he gets it all fouled up, and it's not. He's like, "Not too good, is it, Chief?" And he just chuckles, and he's like, "All right, try it again." But all right, we'll try it again. That's it. Or like, they send Brody to get something. He pulls the wrong line, and it unties all the compressed air tanks.
Oh yeah, that's when Hooper kind of
And Hooper, he's like, God damn it, Martin, you mess around with these, they're going to blow up. And Quint's like, yeah, nice equipment you brought on, Hooper. Right? But when Hooper kind of fixes it and storms off, Quint, again, just, hey, Chief, next time just ask me what line to pull. Like, it's not aggressive. It's not gruff or angry. Like, Hooper was angry.
Yeah, Hooper was the
probably a little scared.
Grumpy one.
Grumpy and impatient. Quint, not even a little bit. I think that's cool. Because it also plays, because up to this point, Hooper is, fun, somewhat more laid back, he's the personable one. But in moments like that, oh no, he's not patient. And oh yeah, he gets angry quick. But all of a sudden, Quint is taking on the role of like patient teacher and, that kind of role. And you wouldn't expect him to do that. But not only do they have this kind of role swap, it works because it's believable.
Yeah, and that just makes you like Quint that much more.
That's the thing. Yeah, it doesn't make you like Hooper more, but it doesn't really make you like him less. But it makes you like Quint a lot more.
Yes. Yeah, when Hooper snaps, it didn't really affect me so much. It was just like, okay, they're under a lot of stress and
you get it.
Yeah, I understand it. But yeah, you're right. When Quint, he's just calm, cool, because he's out in his element. That's where he wants to be. I don't know if Hooper wants to be there, especially not with Quint.
Not with Quint.
Yeah, him and Quint don't get along.
If Hooper was on his boat and he was captain, he'd be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Once they're on the water and we have our three guys, this movie in its way takes on this almost classic golden era cinema like adventure flick. And I am all for it. It's got like the Lost Voyages of Sinbad kind of vibes, the music's upbeat and it's almost fun as, the boat's just going full power and the spray is coming up on them, and they're chasing the shark and you're just like, yeah, let's get it, boys.
Yeah, by far, this is my favorite part of the whole movie. But it's just fun seeing them interact. They're totally different personalities, but they're getting it done. I like that.
And the place they all fill within this friend group, right? And it's like Brody's the odd man out, but he's also still the sheriff. And Hooper and Quint both respect that. And I think they both genuinely like and respect Brody as a person.
I do too.
But they also still respect his office of sheriff, right? And then you've got, Hooper and Quint constantly butting heads over how to do things.
Over everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's not the right fork. So
got soft hands, been counting money.
Hey, I don't need this. I don't need this working class hero crap. So they're on the boat, and we get the first, I guess, boat scare. Brody's chumming the water. And he's like, all right, Hooper, easy, Quint, easy ahead. And Brody's bitching that he's still chumming. He's like, yeah, slow ahead. You heard him. I can go slow ahead. You can come down here and throw out some of this shit. And he throws it out, and the shark head just comes out of the water. Like right at the boat, eating the chum, and Brody just pops up. And he's, oh God! This also marks the first time in the movie that we do not get our sound cue for the shark.
You're right. Yeah.
That's where the scare comes from. We have been trained as an audience that when the shark is there in any capacity, the music plays. Where was my fucking music? I'm not ready for this.
Damn Spielberg.
I'm just watching three guys on a boat doing boat shit. Andy Samberg somewhere, they're on a boat. There's a dated reference. Now, and then just boom, shark head. And it's huge. You're going, oh my God. And that's when, almost in a trance, Brody walks into the captain's quarters where Quint is. He's like, we're going to need a bigger boat. you mentioned it with the score, Donna. We're gonna need a bigger boat. Is that the most recognizable line in cinema? Is we're gonna need a bigger boat the most recognizable line in all of movies?
Man, either that or may the force be with you.
Fair.
But yeah, I mean, between those two,
You know what though? You bring up a great point, because that's if one line is going to go head to head, it's May the Force be with you. How many goddamn movies have spouted that May the Force be with you? We're going to need a bigger boat once. It drops one time. And it's in that moment. Now, Grant, there's a fade off where it's like, we're going to get a bigger boat, right? We're going to go back. We're going to get a bigger boat.
Yeah, he keeps asking that question.
But you know, we're going to, like, it's that moment. We're going to need a bigger boat. When Jaws comes out and Star Wars comes out, we would now know it as Star Wars A New Hope. But what, 78, 79?
77.
7. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought it was a little later than that. 77, Star Wars comes out. Obi-Wan, or, you know, May the Force be with you. And you're like, oh, that's cool. That's whatever. That May the Force be with you did not hit like we're going to need a bigger boat.
I don't know. That's up for debate, but yeah.
Well, I know, that's why we're having a conversation.
Yeah, but between we're going to need a bigger boat and the Jaws score, both of them just everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, all the time.
What? I mean, it's
the what?
It's no the what? So they've got the sharks, you know, they're on his trail, and they get the barrels. They get the first barrel shot into him. And again, but this is still one of those, it's actiony and it's fun and it's adventuring. You know, it's not dark and scary.
Not yet.
Not yet. And they get the first barrel in him, and he's like, boom. And the barrel goes under the water. It disappears. And Bro's like, what do we do? And he's like, nothing. We wait for the barrel to pop up. And it's like, is that normal? Yeah, it's fine. This is so well done. As someone who doesn't know shit about anything, I don't know what the barrels do. I don't know what's going on here. But because Brody is our true main character, he's learning things.
He's the audience.
His character serves as the audience. They don't have to explain things to the audience. They're explaining things to Brody, and we just learn with him.
Yeah.
And so they've got the big floating barrels. They harpoon gun it into the shark. It's got the rope, and it's just going to tire him out. He's going to have to pull all this resistance constantly. It's going to tire him out. He's going to stop to rest, or just stop because he just can't pull anymore. Barrel comes up. And then you just go to the barrel and you get your shark. And we know from Quint, because he mentions it, he was once, he was sharking and had a monster that took two barrels. So they get the first barrel in him. They're chasing it. Barrel disappears. Quint is unfazed. He's like, yeah, this is a big shark. It probably, one barrel, that's fine. That's normal. And they're like, what do we do? We wait. And the sun goes down, and Quint is out there on the, what do they call that? On the nose of the ship, out on the
poop deck.
Thank you, Tevis, and naming the only part of a ship you might kind of know in reference passing. No, so remember Hooper's trying to get a picture of it. He's like, pulpit. Go out to the pulpit. And he's like, why? I need a person out there for scale. Scale my ass. Also, scale my ass. There's a great line. But no, Quint just sits there and waits patiently. Harpoon gun ready for just waiting for this big motherfucker to show up again. It does eventually show up. And the chase is on again. And they put 2 barrels into him. And they're like, we'll kill him, we'll bring him down. And Quint's like, it's okay. He's got 2 barrels in him, and the chase is on. And Hooper or someone is like, he's gonna go down again. And Quint goes, he can't. He's got 2 barrels in him. He can't go down. Not with 2. And both barrels go down. And at this moment, something changes in Quint. He's not fully there yet, but something has changed. And he realizes he's never fought a monster like this before. And I think we see, for the first time, worry. Quint is worried about this one.
Yeah, you could tell it gets to him later. Really bad.
Oh yeah, but I think
Yeah.
this is where that starts.
It starts there.
Do they put the 3rd barrel into him before they retire and have their scar contest?
Yes.
So the chase is on. Both barrels come up. I feel like that's true. If I took better notes, but I was so enraptured by the movie.
Same.
But the 2 barrels eventually pop up, and they're like, gotcha, bitch. And they go over, and they get the hook, and they bring the rope in, and they're going to tie the barrels to the cleats of the on the back of the boat. So now the shark is tied to the boat, and they're just going to haul him into the shallows and drown him, and bring their prize in. All of a sudden, they're not moving forward anymore.
Nope.
They're moving backwards. And Quint guns it. He's full throttle. And it's going. He's like, yeah, pull, you bastard. I hope your back breaks. Keep pulling. You think you can do this? You think you can handle this? You can handle this dick, right? Quint is going full on. Also, this is another one of the moments with Hooper and Brody both. He's that kindly teacher. They're working with the rope, and he's like, all right, boys, put your gloves on.
Oh, yeah.
And if he runs, you drop that rope. And he warned, I've seen fingers taken down to the knuckles when they run, as the rope just burns and cuts fingers off and whatever. He's like, so put your, but he's always, as odd as it seems, he's very safety minded. Is he not?
Yeah. Well, he wants that shark. Yeah. And he doesn't want to have to deal with anybody's bullshit either of losing, a finger or hand.
Yeah, but it's he doesn't even come off that way though. He's way too kindly, I think, in my opinion. The way he says it is so natural. It's so first nature. I don't even think it's like, I got to deal with this bullshit if the sheriff gets injured. I don't think that at all.
Don't think so?
I don't think that crossed his mind. I think he's worried about his crew.
You think he sees them as their crew, as his crew?
I do. Yeah. He's their captain.
That's fair.
So the shark runs, and and he ends up ripping the stern cleats off the boat.
Flooding the engine too.
So yeah, now not only did they overwork the engine, but now it's flooded. So now they're not stranded, but the Orca, their boat, the Orca, is not doing great as Hooper and Quint try to fix it. The barrels come up again. And Brody gets them in there. He's like, oh, shit, the barrels. And so now we as an audience, we see these barrels. They surface, they move, they sink, they surface, they move, whatever. We're in this weird kind of position. The barrels are exciting. But is it going to be scary and intense? Is it going to be fun and adventurous? We don't know what story these barrels are going to tell. We just know something's about to happen. And we hope we won't cry at the end of it. And they get the 3rd barrel in him. So he starts to run again. They get the 3rd barrel in him. And they're like, he's running. And Quint is just flat out, he can't run. Not with 3 barrels. Nothing has ever taken 3 barrels. It is not possible. And then all 3 barrels disappear under the water. They don't come back. And now Quint is officially at breaking. He loses it a little bit. He smashes up the radio and Brody tries to call the Coast Guard.
Yep.
He's getting a little physical with Hooper a little bit. He blows the engine out of the Orca, just completely blows it. And then the barrels come up. And then the shark comes up. And Brody makes the comment, look at him. He's eating his way through that line. And it's Hooper, right? Who's like, yeah, right to us.
Yeah.
And it's at this point where Quint, I think, officially realizes, never fought anything like this before, never seen anything like this before. I can't do this alone. And that's when he asks Hooper, what can these toys of yours do? You brought all this equipment on board. What's it do? He's officially reached the point. Call it desperation, call it realization, call it whatever you want. Pride is gone, and he's willing to accept Hooper's help.
Yeah, how hard do you think that was for him to do? Considering the entire trip he's been giving Hooper so much shit.
Well, it took almost being blown up,
Mm-hmm.
the complete destruction of his ship's engine, the stern cleats getting ripped out, 3 barrels in a shark, which should be impossible. Hooper gets snagged in the rope at one point, and it almost cuts his legs off. Quint himself has the rope ripped out of his hands, and we see him with the bandanas
Yeah.
wrapped around. So it almost cut his hands in half. Roughly that much. Yeah.
It took a lot.
It took a decent amount. And they put the shark cage together. Now Hooper has a spear loaded with that poison. And he's like, if I can stick him in the mouth, it'll kill him. Fuck this shark. But the plan is to put Hooper in the shark cage, lower him in so he can get the shark. Knowing what they know at this point, having seen what they have seen at this point, am I the only one going, absolutely? Not only am I not getting in that cage, I'm not letting you get in that cage. I would actively throw hands with everyone on board to prevent someone from getting in a shark cage with that thing. It's not even a fish anymore. It's clearly some kind of demon.
Yeah, I love it. Just before, when Hooper gets in there and he hasn't put his mask on yet, he's like, I don't have any spit.
I don't have any spit. And what a great way. He's like, I'm going to do it. But it still fits with his kind of wry sense of humor. He's like, I ain't got any spit to put spit in my goggles. So shark attacks. Cage is wrecked. Spear is gone. Am I the only one going, oh God, Hooper's going to stick himself? Because if it were me, I'd have stuck myself. But shark destroys the cage. Hooper escapes, but Quint and Brody don't know that. They pull the cage up. It's wrecked.
Cage is destroyed.
And Hooper's gone. So obviously he's dead. And I don't even mean that, because usually we make that joke. We're like, well, obviously we're going to jump to a wild conclusion. No, I feel like that's an okay. That was a small tiptoe step to that conclusion. He's obviously dead.
Absolutely.
Then there's no break. There's no warning. The shark jumps out of the water, lands on the back half of the ship, and just tips that whole sumbitch up. And now Brody and Quint are sliding down towards the mouth of the beast. Brody catches himself and grabs Quint's arm, but isn't able to hold him. And Quint goes in.
This tore me up a little bit.
Before you continue, can I add? It tears me every single time, too. Every time.
Yeah, every time. It's because he's kicking and flailing and trying to keep away from the mouth.
And he gets the machete
Gets
out.
the machete out. And this goes back to the story that he was telling about the USS in Indianapolis,
Mm-hmm.
about all the guys that went into the water when the ship got sank, and all the sharks that they had to deal with, and getting eaten alive,
Mhm.
watching his crew, his friends. And that's when he's like, I swear I'm never going to wear a life jacket ever again because I don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
And then he ends up getting eaten.
Yeah, but life jacket wouldn't have.
No, but the original way in the script, the way he was supposed to die was he was supposed to get pulled under. His foot was going to get tangled up.
They have storyboards of that.
in the rope.
I've seen. I feel like I've seen storyboards of that.
Yeah, but they changed it to the way it happened, so it kind of mirrors that story that he told.
Yeah.
With the Indianapolis.
Now, wasn't Hooper also supposed to die originally, but they ended up getting that real life shark footage. So while their team, it was that Australian couple,
yes,
we're actually getting real life great white shark footage. At some point in time, the shark got on top of the shark cage and starts thrashing and freaking out because it's on top of the shark cage.
Do you know the whole story about that?
No.
So in order to make the shark look bigger, they miniaturized the cage.
Oh.
And they miniaturized a suit. They had a little person who was going to go into the cage.
Mm-hmm.
And this little person was terrified of the sharks.
Yeah.
But they miniaturized even the air tank. They didn't think, hey, a smaller air tank is only going to hold so much. It would only hold like 2 or 3 minutes of air.
Oh my God.
So they couldn't put him in. They had to get him in quick. He was so scared and so reluctant to get into it. It took him a while. And before he got into it is when that shark got tangled up on the cage and took the cage down. And if he would have got in there,
that'd have been it.
He'd have been dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his fear saved his life.
I've never heard that story before.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Now, the Australian couple is outside the cage and they get the filming of the shark freaking out. And I had always heard that Spielberg saw that and went, oh yeah, we got to put that in.
Yeah. But that's why Hooper survived, because they didn't have anybody in the cage.
Yeah.
When that shark was on top of it. So they're like, well, we'll just change it. So, because I want to use this footage.
It's too good.
It's way too good.
Hopefully that shark was okay, but they killed a bunch of sharks up to this point
I'm sure
anyway.
he's fine. I heard he got a role in.
I don't even know where this is going, but I hate this joke. Hold on, everyone, get your shirts ready.
Deep Blue Sea.
There it is. And I hate that joke. And can we all just boo this man and we'll move on? So now the ship is sinking. The shark is there. And Brody's got to act. So he's in the captain quarters. And here comes the shark just through the wall, Kool-Aid Man style. The shark is, oh yeah. And here he comes. Brody fights it off with the air tank. Hits it in the nose. It backs up. And he throws the tank in its mouth. And then he gets up onto the mast as it's continuing to sink. But he's got Quint's rifle. And here comes the shark, and he can see the shark, see the mouth, and in the mouth, along with the fleshy bits of Quint that are still in his teeth, is the tank. And he's shooting, and he's shooting, and he's shooting, and he's shooting. He's like, come on, blow up. And he shoots, and he hits the tank. Explosion. Shark chunks everywhere. It sinks. The body sinks as it just billows blood. And Brody's just exhausted, but triumphant. And he's the look of relief. Exhausted relief, but relief. And then here comes Hooper. He's like, what I missed.
What was that noise?
And he's looking around, shark's dead, everyone's happy. He's like, Quint? No. And that's all that's said, and that's all that needs to be said.
Yeah.
Then they rig a couple of shark barrels to some driftwood and from the ship, and they kick their way home. God damn, this movie is a roller coaster.
It is.
We didn't get into, like, honestly, one of my favorite parts when Quint's telling the story of the Indianapolis and the Scar contest. You know, we didn't get into all of it, and that's all right. This episode's already going to be 3.5 hours. Was there anything we didn't touch on that you feel like we really need to touch on?
No.
I'm good.
I think we hit everything.
Like, other than that,
of importance, yeah.
Other than that one scene I really like, which is really just more characterization.
Yeah, it does a really good job of bringing them all together
and giving us, the audience, even more about them.
Yeah.
But we've went on a lot about, I've gone on a lot about characterization as is. Tevis, you have a lot of editing, and it's all my voice. I'm sorry.
I mean, I have a lot of editing. I have a lot of editing. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of editing.
No. Eat my entire ass. I got a meal even Jaws couldn't handle, and it's my entire ass.
I don't know. I think he could.
It'd be a tight fit. We'll find out. All right. Going into final thoughts. I would like to start with the ratings. Unless you would prefer reviews.
No, go ahead.
We normally do ratings, then reviews.
Yes, do ratings and reviews.
You ready to be mad?
I'm always ready to be mad when you're talking about the ratings and the reviews.
IMDb. What do you think IMDb gave it?
Well, from their track record, they suck. So,
isn't that the truth?
It's probably low 70s.
Not that bad.
Okay.
8. So, all right, 8.1.
Fucking IMDb.
Are you out of your fucking mind? Jaws is an 8.1?
No.
Harry's hat was an 8.1.
Not in any universe.
Rotten Tomatoes. This is a number we've seen before. This is a number we've seen a couple of times before. 97.
There it is.
This is now the third movie we've ever talked about to be this high.
There it is.
How is IMDb so wrong?
I don't know. I would look it up on their app, but I don't have it anymore.
And if you did, you wouldn't now. Actually, my wife was not able to watch all of this one with me. She had to go do something when I was sitting down to watch it. And I was like, you want me to wait? She's like, no, it's fine. Go ahead. She's like, it's been a long time since I've watched Jaws, but I remember, like, the last, time I watched it or whatever, just fast forwarding through all the slow parts to get to, like, the good stuff. And I just stared at her. And I was like, well, then you can get the hell out.
Does she write for IMDb?
She might. Shark stuff was great. Don't need all the boring parts. 8.1. And she was like, what? I haven't watched this movie since I was a teenager. And I was like, get out of the house. I don't even want you around me if you're going to have this kind of slow parts. What are you talking about? You mean the build-up?
Yeah. What's with all this character building? Fuck this Brody guy.
Why do I need to see that little boy? No one cares. What are you doing? All right. Review time. We got Ebes. We also have Variety.
Okay.
I feel like maybe we should do Variety first.
Oh, wonderful.
Because you and Ebes, you guys go way back.
Yes. We're going to throw hands.
Variety. Getting right to the point. Jaws is an artistic and commercial smash.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
And I can't find anything wrong with that.
No, not at all.
Ebert, not Ebert.com. This is Ebert the man. Ebert, 4 stars.
Oh, totally redeem yourself.
Hold on. I feel like giving Jaws 4 stars is the equivalent of Mark McGuire hitting a home run off a tee. Like, that's not a hot take.
No, but you know how he is.
Juiced?
No, not Ebert. Or not Mark McGuire. Ebert.
Wait. Breaking news. Ebert was on the sauce. That's why all of his pencils would snap in half as he wrote his reviews. Those huge muscular hands.
And small testicles.
Oh. No, what were you going to say?
I don't even know now.
All right. 4 stars. Jaws is a sensationally effective action picture. I'm not going to lie. That doesn't sit right with me.
Action picture?
Sensationally effective action picture. I do not describe Jaws as an action movie.
No.
It is, as we talked about, it has fun, adventure-y, action-y parts. But you know what? A horror movie can have levity. That doesn't make it a comedy, right? Jaws is a thriller, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, some people describe it as a horror movie, but to me it's kind of like Jurassic Park. I'm like, horror. Nah,
Yeah, it's
thriller.
That's a stretch. Yeah.
Thriller.
Thriller. Yeah. Adventure thriller, maybe.
If you wanted, if you felt like giving it like a hybrid title, sure. But like action picture? I mean, yeah, I guess there is some gunplay and there is an explosion, but action picture?
I imagined with him calling it an action picture, when Jaws blows up, Brody should be walking away from it.
Cool guys don't look at
Yeah,
explosions.
you just keep walking
on water.
on water. Throw that revolver or the rifle over your shoulder and just strut
home and power fuck your wife. You've earned it, Sheriff Brody. This one's for you.
Michael, you want a brother?
Another brother.
I
don't know, and there's something about sensationally effective. I don't know why. There's something in that wording that doesn't sit right with me either. This isn't a sensational film. In the sense of like sensationalist journalism.
Yeah.
Where it's flashy, look at this, and it's sensational, and I don't feel like that's this movie.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
And that's probably not how he meant it, and I'm probably just over analyzing, but I don't know. There's just something about that too that just sits wrong with me. All right. We've been talking for like 6 hours. Welcome to the longest episode of Ticket Price. All right, Tevis. Final thoughts. Bring us home.
This is essentially 2 movies. You have the town part,
Mm-hmm.
the on the land part, and then you have the on the sea adventure. Every part of both parts are sensational. No, this
Eat my ass. I was going to let you talk, and I'm just going to let you eat my ass.
No, every part of this movie works. The acting, there is no bad part of this movie. There is no slow part to this movie.
Shots fired.
Pew, pew.
Pew pew.
I've seen this movie, oh God, 100 times maybe. I'll watch it easily 3 or 4 times a year, and it never gets old. The music, the action-y second, third act, fantastic. Quint, fantastic. Hooper, fantastic. Brody is such a cool everyman where he's a great family man. He's just a great character all around.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have, I almost said like he doesn't have a single flaw, but he does. He has flaws, but that makes him better. He doesn't have like an evil bone in his body. He's always trying to do the right thing, whether it be for his town or for his family. There is no doubt this movie is worth the ticket price. I'll watch it tonight before I go to bed.
I was just about to say the same thing.
It's phenomenal.
We just said it. There've only been, actually, I think this is the third, I think. There are so few movies that I love so genuinely and so completely that after we record our episode and we talk about it, it gets me fired up to watch the movie again. Tombstone, Braveheart,
Avatar.
fuck you. Actually, you know what? Jurassic Park is in there. And now Jaws. And I just want to see Quint, Hooper, and Brody on a boat chasing barrels. That's what I want. That's what I want right now. This movie is a genuine masterpiece. Jaws is as close to a perfect film as is possible. I will say that. I'll stand by that. I'll die on that hill. Jaws is as perfect as you can get. If for some reason you have not seen Jaws, please, 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 please do whatever you have to do. Watch it. Watch this movie. It's so good. And you know what? If you haven't watched it in a while, obviously, go watch this movie. But if you've never seen Jaws, I'm going to apologize to you because you need to go watch it. And when you do, specifically the storytelling and the characters of all your favorite movies and all the movies you watch from that point on are not going to seem as good because it's going to take genuine master level writing, directing, and acting to equal Brody, Hooper, and Quint.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
It's never going to be the same. Your enjoyment of movies will never be the same because you have this standard to hold them up to. So I'm going to apologize for everyone who will go out, watch this movie for the first time, and now have this standard. Is Jaws worth the ticket price? Absolutely. All right, that's all I got.
Okay.
It only took us 3 hours.
Hey, we're almost there.
All right, hat time.
Hat time.
Hat time. My turn, your turn?
Your turn, I think.
My turn.
Yeah.
All right. Digging around, walking the mile, digging in the hat. you just look at me and smirk every time I make that joke.
I'm keep hoping you'll pull Green Mile out.
Well, I'll have you know that this time I've pulled out The Fighter. And for the life of me, I don't know what this movie is.
Fighter?
The Fighter. It sounds familiar.
That's Christian Bale.
I like that.
Mark Wahlberg.
Gross.
And Amy Adams. I think she's in it.
I'm okay with Amy Adams.
Yeah.
I don't like Mark Wahlberg.
Do you like Mark Wahlberg?
No.
Marky Mark?
No.
Mr. Funky Punch? Wahlburgers?
No and no.
No. Wahlburgers is fantastic.
Oh, sure. I'll take your word for it.
I don't know. I've seen a few almost said Wahlburgers.
You've seen a few Wahlburgers?
I've seen a few Wahlburgers go down my throat.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Whoa, I don't like that either.
I don't like
Never
that.
mind.
Can I get that sound clip go down my throat?
Nope. Let's start that over. I've seen a few Wahlberg movies. They're not bad.
They are bad.
No. The Fighter. Okay.
Yep. Fighter next. All right, everyone. Tune in next week as we look at The Fighter. As for this week, we will finally wrap up Jaws. I'm Jake. That's Tevis. We are Ticket Price. If you like the new format as far as moving the ratings and the reviews to the end, When we do final thoughts, let us know if you want us to move it back. We can do back to the original.
Take the pills.
Pill time. Pills are good. But all right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us. Have a good night. Don't go in the water.
I will never go in the water again.
Never taking a bath again.
Hell no. Not in the shower.
Come out of the drain, just bite me in my ass.